It was one of those overcast mornings in Buenos Aires where the city felt a little heavy, as if you had eaten a big steak dinner last night. But hop on a train, and suddenly, sunshine, boats, and good vibes in El Tigre. This is how a gloomy day turned into something special. In this vlog, I'm going to show you how to get to El Tigre from Buenos Aires and how to make the most of this day trip. Let's begin with walking to the El Retiro train station.
Sometimes you just want to get away from the city just for a little bit. And if you're in Buenos Aires for a few days, you might have time to spare to do a day trip outside of the city. So today we're going to go to El Tigre, which is a city about 45 minutes to an hour north of Buenos Aires. It's known for their river views, and it's just a good way to explore more of the Argentine culture. Now, the best way to get there is by train. So we're going to go to Estación Retiro. No need to set up a tour bus or anything. I mean, you could do this all by yourself.
Lucky for us, our hotel was not a far walk to Estación Retiro.
I think that's it, straight ahead. First things first, we're going to need to get a Sube card because we don't have one. That's like their Metro card. Perfect, that's what we were looking for, trains and tickets. And the reason why we're taking the Estación Retiro is because they have the Mitre Line. But before we're going to the ticket office, we're gonna do a little side quest. I mean, wow, take a look at this train station. It's gorgeous. Such a grand train station, just like in the UK, France, Denmark.
We headed to the metro area ticket office to buy a round-trip ticket, and this was a great way to unload some of our Argentine pesos.
The tickets were ridiculously cheap, so for 2 round-trip tickets to Tigre from Buenos Aires, it cost us 4,600 pesos. Okay, now that makes sense because on the paper it said 1,800 pesos, but the math didn't work out. But because we didn't have a Sube card, they charged us an extra fare. So the math works out to be just an extra 1,000 pesos, which is less than $1 US, so not a big deal. Next train is 11:48. Even if we had missed a train because we got lost or couldn't figure out things, it's not a big deal. They run this train every 20 minutes. Oh, maybe it's time for a snack? No, not really. I kind of had a big breakfast.
I know they call Buenos Aires the Paris of South America, and for a moment, I was taken back to the Gare du Nord in Paris.
And it's pulling up right on time, 11:48.
We're going to be on the train for a while because Tigre is the last stop, and you want to make sure that you're getting on the train that goes to Tigre. As the train pulls out of Buenos Aires, the scenery shifts pretty quickly. At first, it's all concrete, apartment blocks, busy intersections, and walls covered in graffiti. But the further north you go, the more it starts to open up. It feels like taking the subway in New York City where street performers will take over a car, but because it's Buenos Aires, you'll be entertained by Latin beats.
I
find it ironic that we actually gave the singers a bigger tip than the cost of this train ride.
You'll pass through a string of suburbs, places like San Isidro and Olivos, with leafy streets and small houses and flashes of daily life. It's a different pace than the capital, a little quieter, a little greener. Every now and then, you'll catch a glimpse of the countryside, a hint of what's waiting at Tigre. It's a reminder that Buenos Aires isn't far, but the mood out here is already shifting.
We are one of the last peoples on the train because Tigre is the last stop. It's coming up next.
And just like that, you've arrived at the end of the line, Tigre.
Bienvenidos a El Tigre. And that train ride did take about an hour. However, if you wanted to take a cab, like using Cabify, the app, it would take about half an hour. However, just for like a couple of US dollars, even with that extra charge because we didn't have a Sube card, I thought the train was pretty worth it.
Now, to figure out what we'll be doing on our afternoon in Tigre.
Where are we exactly? Well, we're here at Tigre, that's the town, and the town of Tigre is located on the Paraná Delta, which is made up of a network of canals from the river. So this is kind of like going to Venice, you know, with their networks of canals. And people from Buenos Aires like to come up here on the weekends kind of as a getaway. But there are people who live and work here. I mean, they live on the river delta and things have to get sent to them by boat. We're gonna leave the station. Oh, the station on the outside is so pretty. You know, you're in South America when they have statues of capybaras outside of the train station. I did not expect to see this kind of scenery. I thought we were going to be out in the middle of nowhere up north, but it seems really developed here. The first thing on our agenda today is to take a river boat cruise. That's why we came out here, was to explore the Paraná Delta. There's a McDonald's over there that a lot of people use as a landmark as to where to buy the tickets. So now we're not walking towards McDonald's because we wanted a Big Mac. We're walking towards it because that's where we're supposed to buy tickets for the river cruise. I love how they set everything up for tourists, so they tell us where to find everything. So there's a tourist office, ticket office, train station, and other landmarks. Perfect. We were looking for a place to buy tickets. I didn't realize they had different types of tours. We got here around 1, and so we only have time to do a 1-hour boat ride where we'll see 6 rivers. Now they have different stands selling different type of boat rides, so inquire around. You don't have to settle for the first one you see, although the first one that we did see seemed pretty appealing. Maybe because I'm anchoring on a certain route and price point. But the next boat ride's not going to be until 2 p.m. and we have 40 minutes before then. So I guess what we'll do is we'll walk around, take a look around this area. It's a Tuesday today, so things aren't quite as bustling and vibrant like they would on the weekends. And we're also here during low tourist season for South America. Hey, I'm good with that. I don't like long lines. If you have time before or after your river cruise, and check out this area by the dock. So there's places to eat. So that's good to know because we haven't had lunch yet, but we wanted to get on the boat first. As I mentioned before, there are other ticket sellers, other boats going out. Check what times they leave, but it seems like they leave every 30 minutes. As for us, we've already anchored on the first stand that we saw, so we're gonna go back to it and buy our tickets. So it ended up being 12,000 pesos per person. So it's a total of 24,000. It's a 1-hour boat ride, but we get to see 6 rivers. Next boat is at 2 p.m. I'm so glad that the weather out here in Tigre is a lot better in Buenos Aires from this morning. Remember how cloudy it was? Now this feels more like vacation weather for the wintertime in South America. There are other people lined up with bags, and then bottles of water. It's just a reminder that people take the boats not just as a tourist ride, but they do live on the river delta. And so if they needed supplies like groceries or something, they just come into town here at Tigre and then take the boat back. Oh, cool. Looks like they're loading that boat with all of the supplies that people have bought on the mainland.
One of the most fascinating things about Tigre is how the public boats work. Out here, the river isn't just for leisure. It's the main road. Locals who live on the islands don't have cars or streets, so these boats are basically the public buses of the Delta.
While we're waiting for our boat, this is interesting for me to watch. So seeing these 3 boats ahead, and like people are transferring stuff among the 3 boats. Yeah, there's some sort of system or network going on here that I don't understand, but you know what? I guess that's the river way of life.
It's everyday life here, but for visitors, it's a vivid reminder of how different things feel once you leave the city.
All right, it's time to get onto the boat. Okay, yeah, I gotta watch your step, I got on the boat without falling. Yeah, this is a nice boat. Now, don't worry, they have safety jackets on the boat.
The Paraná Delta is one of the largest in the world, with thousands of small islands crisscrossed by rivers and canals. From the boat, you get a sense of just how sprawling and alive this ecosystem is. We passed by the Museo de Arte Tigre. We'll take a closer look at it later, but here's a good view and makes up for the fact that it was closed on the day that we visited Tigre. Every home here has its own dock instead of a driveway. It's the first thing you notice. Wooden porches leading right down into the water. Some of the houses are rustic and simple, while others are more like weekend villas. but all of them share the same reality. If you want to get anywhere, you need a boat. Looks like we just passed by a river. Which one? I have no idea, but it gives you a sense of how the canal system works here. The greenery here is lush. You got willow trees bending over the water, birds darting across the canals, and long stretches where it feels like you're gliding through a jungle. On a sunny day, the water sparkles and the whole place feels calm, a total contrast to the noise and traffic of Buenos Aires. We passed by the Puerto de Frutos, which we will visit next. I thought it was interesting to get a view of it from the boat. It's a reminder how fertile the Paraná River Delta is, with cultivating produce and taking it to the port to be sold. There's also an amusement park and a water park in Tigre, but it was closed when we went. I assume that if you go here during peak tourist season, it would be open and running, so another thing to entertain you in Tigre besides the boat tour. There goes one of those public passenger boats. I also saw people pulling up their rowboats and regattas, a reminder that rowing culture here in Argentina is strong. After about an hour, the boat looped back towards town. It felt both quick and timeless, like we only just left, but also like we stepped into another world entirely.
Wow, that was 1 hour totally worth it being on the boat. Definitely different from all of the tall buildings and the urban feel of Buenos Aires. It was just so calm and relaxing being on the water and then seeing all those homes built on the Delta. So this is the one thing you need to do in El Tigre, which is do a river cruise. We still have plenty of time, so we're gonna head off to our next stop.
We're now going to embark on a half-mile walk to the Puerto de Frutos.
This may be called Tigre, but that's not a tigre, that's a jaguar. Oh, it's wicker furniture and wicker baskets. I learned on the tour that a lot of the wicker material comes from the Delta. So that's handmade. That's a bunch of oranges there. You know what? There's a lot of orange juice that's offered at the restaurants. So now I get it. They have a lot of oranges in Argentina. But then again, it is winter and winter tends to be citrus season. So maybe that's another reason why there's been a lot of orange juice on the menus. Oh, we are taking the scenic route through this more residential and commercial area of Tigre. About a half mile away from the dock is the Puerto de Frutos. We had seen the Puerto de Frutos on our boat tour, but I wanted to see it in person. So yeah, we're here at Puerto de Frutos. So it's just a reminder that this whole Delta region used to grow a lot of fruits. However, in recent years, this market sells more like gifts and handcrafted goods. But maybe we'll be lucky and we'll see fruits. This used to be an area where people would bring their fruits and then they would sell it. People would buy the fruits, a lot of trading going on, but not anymore. It's more like a shopping center. I love it. It says Tigre for tiger, but that's a jaguar. Or actually it might be a leopard. I love gifts, so if you wanted to get a souvenir from Tigre, I could go for an alfajor. It's a little chilly for an ice cream cone. Ah, perfect. This is what we were looking for. We were looking for an outdoor market. A little worried there because I feel like with everything being revitalized, that they try to turn this area into a giant shopping mall. But no, they didn't.
I was glad to see some vendors here.
We're here on a Tuesday afternoon in the middle of low tourist season, so not everything is open. But I suppose if you come here on the weekends or during high tourist season, there'd be a lot more going on. There are more stalls in here, but most of them are closed because, yeah, we're here on a weekday during low tourist season. At least this area has some semblance to the past. I mean, I can imagine the boats dropping off the fruits and vegetables at the dock here, and then people would take them and sell them at their stalls. And now I see this area, they have some restaurants opened.
They do have plenty of eateries here, but they weren't open on the afternoon that we went. We'll keep searching.
No way, is that a labubu over there? Or, well, it's more like a lafufu. Here's a map to orient ourselves. So this whole area here is the Puerto de Frutos. So you can see it stretches pretty far out. But the issue is not a lot of things are open here on a random Tuesday afternoon in August. Just as well, I wasn't in the mood for fighting through crowds and standing in long lines, but we are looking for a place to eat lunch, so we'll keep looking around. I just see a lot of gift shops or furniture shops here. At least they're homemade, handmade. And I'm gonna assume the wicker comes from the Delta. Oh yeah, I can smell the wood on it. So yeah, these are handmade. But if you're looking for a unique gift or you live in this area, I would say come here and get a handmade piece of furniture. At least it'll be better than whatever you can get from Amazon. Yes, finally, they do sell fruit at Puerto de Frutos. I was gonna say, I just saw a lot of like furniture and homeware stuff, but yeah, I'm so glad to see fruit being sold here. And this is where we'll go to for lunch, Mostaza.
Now, I'm going to make a separate vlog covering this visit to Mostaza because it reminds me of McDonald's in the US. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for when that vlog drops.
Here's our meal from Mostaza. So Jason got a wrap, and of course he had to get fries, so papas fritas. And then I got a tostada with bacon and eggs. Yeah, I know that sounds like something we get for breakfast, but I'm getting it for lunch. He got an orange Fanta, and I got a caramel cappuccino. But what's so cool is we got alfajores, and I'm all for it because McDonald's does not have alfajores, but they do here at Mostaza. Nope, we're not at the French Open. We're here in Tigre, and this is the Buenos Aires Tennis Club. Yeah, that's a clay court, and from what I learned on the tour, they say clay comes from the Delta around here, and they use it for construction. So yeah, that makes more sense that they would use a clay court over a grass or a hard court. We still have a bit of time before we need to head back to Buenos Aires. Normally, I would have had us visit a museum or two, but because it's Tuesday, they're closed. There's an art museum that we had seen on the boat tour, but it's closed. And then there's also a naval museum, but it's also closed today. So if museums are your thing, just make sure you check on Google to see what days are open, and then you can time your visit to Tigre that way. But all is not lost. We still have one more activity that doesn't depend on what day of the week it is to be open or closed.
We're headed back towards the dock to go for a scenic walk on Paseo Victorica.
I love the sign, their mascot. Even this kid's jungle gym set is in the theme of a boat, because why not? Right along the river. That's not the Casa Rosada. Nope, that pink building there is a yacht club. Our last excursion here is Paseo Victorica. The Paseo Victorica is a nice little walkway along the Lujan River. So people like to take this walk because you walk by old homes, and then there are these big old trees. I know, the sun is hitting my face, so it makes it kind of hard to film. So I'll film going back towards the train station, but you guys get the idea. I mean, look, there's an old home right there. But we're gonna continue our walk because about a kilometer up this road is the art museum. And you know what? I do want to see it in person. Yeah, it's going to add on an extra 14 minutes to our walk, which doubles to 28 minutes on the walk back to the train station. But you know what? We're so close to it. And sometimes it's just worth adding on that extra walk to get to that destination, because when's the next time I'm going to come out to Argentina, let alone to Tigre? Some other attractions, but we are most interested in the Museo de Arte Tigre. And if you have the time, you can go to Casco Historical. So it's just an old neighborhood, but I love how big these trees are. I love how these tall trees line the street. Gives it this old world feeling. Keep going. According to Google Maps, we're about 600 meters away. I appreciate the area along the river being a third place for people to sit and enjoy the breeze and the weather, the water.
I appreciate this mosaic depicting our walk on the Paseo Victorica along the Luján River leading up to the Museo del Arte.
And we made it to the Museo del Arte Tigre. It may not be open today because it's Tuesday, but guess what? I think it was still worth it to come out here to take a look at the exterior. It's even more impressive in person than from the boat.
Even if you don't step inside, the Museo de Arte Tigre is worth a stop just to admire the building itself. It feels like you've suddenly been transported to Europe. The museum was originally a social club built in the early 1900s, back when El Tigre was the weekend playground for Buenos Aires elite. You can almost picture the parties that once happened here, with people arriving by boat dressed in their best. The details are incredible, with the iron railings and columns. It's pure Belle Époque style, right on the river.
All right, I got enough of art for today, even if it meant standing outside an art museum. And now we're gonna walk back along the Paseo Victorica. And this time I'm gonna be able to film a lot more because the sun won't be in my eyes. It's a mile walk back to the train station, so just know if you are gonna do this walk that it's a mile long. There's the River Luján here on our left, and over there, yeah, this is all part of the views of Paseo Victorica. So you see these trees, homes, and then there are restaurants and cafes. This is a perfect way to end our day in Tigre.
Had we planned on staying in Tigre for dinner, we would have eaten at one of these restaurants along Paseo Victorica. However, we already had dinner plans in Buenos Aires, so we needed to catch the train soon.
And we're back close to the train station there. Just got to cross the bridge. One last look at the river and the delta and everything like that. It was a great day here. The sun is coming down and so is our day in Tigre. It was an easy walk back to the Estación, and we were taking the Linea Mitre or the Mitre Line. No need to worry about buying a train ticket because our ticket was a round trip, so it included the return. And it's back to Retiro. We have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Looks like the return trip isn't as crowded as it was when we took the train up to Tigre. Plenty of seats. Got on the train just in time. I even had time to use the bathroom because it's a 1-hour ride back to Buenos Aires.
So, is it worth leaving Buenos Aires for a day to come to Tigre? If you have more than 3 days in the city, absolutely. It's cheap to get to, easy to explore in a day, and gives you a broader view of Argentine life. Plus, it's a reminder that Argentina isn't just one thing. It's urban and rural, high speed and slow flowing, European influence, and deeply local. Thanks for tagging along with me to El Tigre. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe for more offbeat travel adventures, and let me know in the comments. Would you spend a day here?